Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/am I the asshole for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the post, giving you my thoughts and opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Primary Gold 8255. Am I the asshole for not allowing my friend to use my sister? Content warning for self-harm. I was at the cinema with my family when my phone rang. It was one of my friends, let's call her Jess. We're in the same friend group and used to be very close. However, we drifted apart, but still talk pretty much every day. I silenced it because I didn't want to be rude during the movie. But then, she started blowing up my phone with frantic texts, telling me to pick up because it was an emergency. When I stepped out of the theater and answered, she immediately asked if my sister, who is a psychiatrist, could help. She kept repeating, "Just give me her number, that's all I'm asking," without explaining the situation. I told her I didn't have her business number on me, and I wasn't about to give out her personal number, as that could be a safety hazard. My sister was at the same cinema, watching the same movie, off the clock, trying to enjoy her afternoon. Jess keeps pressing, and I asked what the emergency actually was. After a lot of back and forth, she finally admitted it was about her close friend Sandy, a fake name. I know Sandy from school years ago. She was expelled because her mental health issues were too severe for the school to handle safely. She now goes to a special ed school. I've only ever exchanged a few short sentences with her, but I know her background. She has a history of self-harm, comes from a broken family with emotionally and possibly physically abusive parents, and is in a toxic, abusive relationship that she refuses to leave because she loves him too much. I explained to Jess that even though my sister is a psychiatrist, she doesn't specialize in that type of therapy, and she has never met Sandy or knows her situation. Pulling her out of a movie to suddenly counsel someone she doesn't know or know her situation would not only be ineffective, it could actually make things worse. I also told Jess that I didn't want my family dragged into this. Having a psychiatrist in the family, I've seen how situations like this can spiral, and I believe that constantly letting people with chaotic issues into your personal life can end up poisoning your own peace. My sister deserves her boundaries respected, and I don't think it's fair to expect her to drop everything for someone she's never met, especially when she's already stressed from her own work. Jess lost it, yelling that I was selfish because I had a psychiatrist right there and wouldn't let her use my sister. From my side, I was protecting my sister's privacy, her boundaries, and my family's peace. I just didn't think it was appropriate, safe, or effective to hand over my sister's personal number or drag her into this situation. Am I the asshole? And could I have handled it better? So not only is your friend just entirely entitled and has no respect for you and your sister's free time, but on top of that, it's clear that she only sees you as a vehicle and a means to an end for her own personal objectives. While yes, in a very short-sighted matter, she has a good heart trying to help Sandy get the care that she needs. However, OP's sister is not the proper care. Sandy needs someone who's actually experienced with her conditions, with any medications she might be taking, with what's going on. A therapist who specializes in what Sandy is currently going through. An impromptu session with a psychiatrist who has no idea what's going on could end up opening wounds or causing problems that are unintentional, just because of the simple fact that OP's sister doesn't know Sandy. And while once upon a time I did get the quote wrong, it still stands and I think my version's better. Because someone knows you, they think they own you. Original version was O, but dyslexia be damned created a better version in my eyes. Whether you're a lawyer, a psychiatrist, a doctor, a therapist, or honestly any other profession that has expertise, just because you have that, suddenly a lot of people seem to come out of the woodwork and need your assistance on various things. Because after all, we're friends. And you're right there. So why won't you help me? There are plenty more readily available resources that Sandy has access to that doesn't require OP and their sister taking time from their day off and stepping out of a movie to assist with. I also wouldn't be surprised if it turns out there were professional ramifications for OP's sister if she did, in fact, decide to help Sandy. So yeah, with all the variables at play here, I would say definitely not the asshole. Problem worried 1592. Am I the asshole for slapping my mom back? I, 19 female, still live with my family, and I've developed a habit of hiding in my room with the door locked. If I don't lock it, my mom just walks in. Over the years, I've learned that trying to argue with her is pointless because the fights don't make sense. So, I stay in my room to avoid conflict. I still talk to my family and help my mom with typical stuff, tech and chores, but I keep my distance to preserve the peace. I spend a lot of energy trying to read her mood and being patient with her questions, just to avoid setting her off. Because of this, my mom has built up a lot of resentment toward me for withdrawing. She usually yells explosively during fights, and I stay quiet because it's the only thing that de-escalates things. Yesterday's incident, I had just finished talking to my mom and sister and was heading to shower. I opened a letter about collecting a certificate, and my sister asked what it was. I simply said, collection date, and walked to my room. So, my mom stormed in yelling at me for not telling her about missing the ceremony. I explained that I did tell her the date, which is true, collecting certs later is normal for me, and that the letter was just for picking it up. I realized my reply to my sister was a bit unclear after I tried to clarify by asking my sister. The next day, my mom said the fight wasn't about the cert and missing the ceremony, but my callous attitude towards my sister triggered her. She wouldn't stop yelling and insisted I admit I was wrong. I got defensive and shut down, then went to take my shower while my sister told her to stop. My mom kept screaming about how no one takes her side and why can't she ever be right? I just went to my room and slept. For today's escalation, the next day I stayed in my room, expecting her to still be mad. My mom came to the door and asked me to go shopping. I declined. She asked again, but I didn't hear her. She then started knocking aggressively, which I recognize as a warning sign, and she demanded I open the door. I asked what she wanted. Silence. Then, she started slamming her body against the door, trying to break it down. I opened it. She asked why I didn't open it sooner. I stayed silent. I was terrified. My adrenaline was pumping so hard I felt like I needed to pee. What happened next is a bit foggy because I disassociate when I get this scared, but before I knew it, she was slapping me repeatedly. I reacted and slapped her back. My sister, who had been watching her hit me, only stepped in after I hit my mom, outraged. And then I peed my pants. I was so scared I lost control of my bladder. My mom just looked at me and said I was doing it for sympathy and attention. She then said the classic line, "Why don't you move out? Since you can't, you need to obey." The aftermath and the dynamics. A family meeting was called afterward. They tell me that fights are about releasing emotions and solving practical problems. But in practice, it feels completely one-sided. She can yell, hit, and vent. If I physically defend myself, I'm the problem. If I cry, it's for attention or sympathy. But at the same time, she tells me I don't care about her. Because I have more empathy and can sense her unresolved feelings, I'm expected to be the one to reach out and make peace afterward. She ignores my feelings completely. They frame her yelling and venting as normal and healthy, while my shutting down or withdrawing is abnormal and unhealthy. But both are unhealthy, aren't they? I close my door to feel safe. And they say that encourages her violent reactions. But when her violent reactions happen, it just makes me want to close my door even more. It feels like I'm being used as an emotional dumpster. I'm not allowed to have boundaries, dignity, or a physical reaction to being hit. I'm just expected to absorb her rage and then apologize for surviving it. I feel unsafe and unprotected in my own home. I start therapy this week to get better coping mechanisms, but right now I just feel sad. Too long didn't read. My mom attacked me. I defended myself. My family only cared that I hit her back. I was so scared I peed my pants. They expected me to make peace because I'm the empathetic one, while her abuse is seen as venting. Just to clarify, this is the first time in a while since she's hit me. Usually it's just screaming and verbal jabs. Hun, all your reactions are normal, justified, and honestly, nothing to be embarrassed by. Your mother is an abusive piece of shit monster. Her actions are not your responsibility despite the fact that she's made them yours. Your therapist will probably tell you similar things, and more importantly, as your therapist will hopefully tell you, you need an exit plan. You need to get out of there. It sounds like your mother has a lot of issues that she herself needs to work on, but rather than actually going to a doctor, a psychiatrist, or a therapist and seeing what she can do to work those issues out, she's decided to use her own family as a punching bag, as a way to get her aggression and various emotions out on the floor for everyone else to pick up in front of her. That's not your responsibility. And locking your door isn't wrong. That's normal. You've been forced into a constant fight or flight state for survival that you believe that your actions of being in this fight or flight are what's normal. Not the human reactions of fighting back, of locking your door, of shutting down, of not wanting to deal with someone yelling at you because you had a quote-unquote attitude with your sister that triggered her. Do what you can to build an escape plan, and good luck. Hopefully therapy helps. AM Flamingo. Am I the asshole for not wanting to go through with my part of the deal, even though my boyfriend says it's a good idea? Me, 18 female, and my boyfriend, 18 male, have this ongoing argument about me changing my hair color. For some context, all throughout my childhood, I was a natural blonde, and as I got older, it got darker. My natural hair color now is a brunette color. My boyfriend in the past has only ever dated emo girls or only girls with darker hair. This bothers me because I'm the complete opposite. Everything I own is pink, and my hair is very blonde. I go get my hair done every 6 months. Now to the deal. My boyfriend has been saying he wants to buzz his hair off, and I told him that he wouldn't look good with it, and to please not, because I just wouldn't like it. He's been telling me that I should go brunette/natural for a while because he thinks I'd look good with it. The deal is that if he doesn't buzz his hair, that I will go natural. I've been hesitant about switching hair colors for 3 reasons. 1, because I've basically been blonde my whole life, no matter if it was natural or unnatural. 2, because I feel like he's trying to make me look like the rest of the girls he's dated. And 3, I just like being blonde. I have voiced all of these things I feel to him, and he just says that it's not that deep and to trust him and do it. The main thing that bothers me is that I feel like he's trying to transform me into his type instead of me just being myself. He's also said he wishes I'd get over the color pink, which adds on to why I feel this way. As of today, we kept having the argument. He told me that I'm not as attractive with my blonde, so that led me to ask him, why are you dating a blonde then if you don't like blondes? And he told me that he could tell I wasn't a natural blonde and was hoping I'd go back natural for him, which I feel like is bold of him to assume. The other main reason this is a big deal for me is because my hair grows very slow, and if I dye it, it'll be that color for years and probably be hard to get back to blonde if I put dye over it, if I end up changing my mind. I've also told him this, but he told me that his feelings for me will probably not last if I keep my hair how it is right now, even though I like it this way. So am I the asshole for not wanting to keep my side of the deal, even though I feel like he's trying to change me into what he wants? So, OP was voted the asshole here, by the way. I think you two should just break up. You two are 18, and it's very clear that you guys are partially compatible, but not fully compatible. He wants a different kind of girl that's not you, and you don't want him to buzz his hair. If he really wants to buzz his hair, he should be allowed to do so, even if it comes at the cost of you no longer finding him attractive. And same goes for you. You shouldn't have to change your appearance that you're happy with just to appease him. A lot of the comments are really focused on this agreement that the two of them made, but I think there's far bigger problems at foot here. For starters, you two are 18. Like, honestly, Relationships like these come and go, and you'll find someone else who loves you for you, and not for who he thinks you might be. I mean, hell, he's admitted that he's only dating you because he knows you're not a natural blonde and thinks he can make you into the girl he wants you to be. A lot of the comments really seem to be focused on this arbitrary deal between the two of them here. This arbitrary deal isn't some kind of binding contract. If you don't want it, you don't have to follow through with it. But you also need to understand that that means that he doesn't have to follow through with it either. I just think you two should break up, honestly. It's very clear he doesn't want you. He wants an idea of you that he thinks he can coax out of you. And it's very clear that he wants to be someone that you do not want him to be. So, you guys are 18. Not to mention, according to the comments, you're not even in the same grade. You graduated, he's still a senior. I mean, come on. Keep running 03. Am I the asshole for not wanting to move back home? My wife and I had our first child nearly 4 years ago and moved to Alaska with an agreement to go back to our home state in the Midwest once our baby was of school age. A lot has changed in that time, as listed below. We've had 3 children, 3, 2, and newborn. My career growth has been great given the typically lower ceiling in my field. I invested in advanced mentorship at the expense of pay in our first year here, which has led to my dream job in which I now make literally double the income from where I first started and about $50,000 more than I had originally projected before the move up here. I stepped into a significant leadership role within a year of coming out of the company I work for. So I have meaningful influence and major flexibility. I can work 3 days per week and we still do well, which allows me to be with the family a lot and tend to our kids. Another really nice bonus to our circumstance is the fact our entire family has free healthcare coverage through Alaska Native Tribal Health. We literally had our children for free and have paid nothing for extensive coverage. We each receive PFDs, which is a nice little bonus every fall. I feel the financial stability and continued upward trajectory is the best path for us. A move back to the south would cap growth and be a major step backwards. On her end, she longs for family on the daily. I understand raising 3 kids without the village is a challenge of its own. I've watched them several days at a time without help, and feel grateful for what she does. I feel her family continually pushes the idea of us moving back. Unfortunately, that would require her to work, not be a stay-at-home mom. She let her associate's degree licensing lapse for years, which yielded moderate income at the time we met, and she became a stay-at-home mom within a year of us dating. I've made it a point to ensure she sees family. I fly our young family back to the Midwest, and they'll stay for 4 or 5 week stretches at least once a year, sometimes twice, and I've flown my in-laws up as well on a whim for a holiday. They also make it a point to come up at least twice per year. The main thing is, she wants a plan for moving in soon. I've weighed the options endlessly and feel we are in the right place and on the right path and can't settle on largely emotional decisions over what has been stated above. OP has an update in the comments. I appreciate everyone's insight on the issue at hand. Thanks for making thoughtful contributions. It has opened my eyes to several things. My wife does so much for our family, and I know that. But there's a difference between knowing and actively engaging and supporting her consistently through the grind. My drive right now is great, but it does get lopsided in favor of what's happening in the workspace. Does that leader dynamic carry into the home? Inevitably. I think it does at times, and I'm guilty of that. I know better. My focus moving forward is less based on the outcome of the situation and more on our current dynamics in the home. She probably feels to have lost her voice because I haven't truly appreciated her efforts and shown it on the daily, despite acknowledgement, which doesn't really go that far in making life easier for her. I'm actively exploring ideas to improve our communication first and how to reduce her stress as a stay-at-home mom. We will have to lay things out on the table and consider everything, hopefully coming up with some creative ideas in the process. So I'm kind of in a weird boat here where this feels complicated. There's a lot of moving parts to it, and someone's going to have to make a sacrifice here. Whether it's the wife continuing to be a stay-at-home mom for the sake of financial stability despite her wishes, or the husband putting their finances in jeopardy and potentially having quite a massive pay scale decrease. Which, with them being a sole income household, that is definitely a big deal. Also, according to OP's comments, the wife did choose to be a stay-at-home mom. She wasn't pressured or forced into it, so that is something to also have for consideration. Truth being, all I can really say is to talk and to see what you guys can figure out between the two of you, kind of what OP said that they would approach with their comments. You guys have a very difficult and tricky conversation ahead of you two, and if it doesn't happen now, it's just going to cause resentment to build. Truth being, with the information given, I don't really know what else I can say here. Sounds like that OP's work kind of locks them in Alaska for them to have this kind of pay rate. And unfortunately, the circumstances drastically changed from when they first made the agreement, and life just has a tendency to do that. So all I can really say is you two just need to really talk with each other. Thankfully, that does seem to be what OP is going to be doing here. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd be very curious if maybe I missed something massive. Drowsy Gamer. Would I be the asshole if I broke up with my fiance because she bought a house while I was away? For context, I'm in the Navy and have just recently gone on deployment. Earlier this year, me and my fiance moved in together. We got a 2-bedroom unit that was part of a duplex. I pay all of the rent for the unit and covered all of the moving expenses and financed buying all of the furniture and appliances we needed for moving in together. While all of this was going on, I was also making preparations to go on deployment, such as setting up power of attorney, establishing a joint bank account, and creating an emergency fund for while I'm away. So by the time I left for deployment, I was pretty low on liquid cash. Fast forward a couple of months with no contact, I pull in for the first time and start catching up with her. She tells me all kinds of stories about how the neighbors have been super annoying, how they don't take out the trash bin, how they have weird hours, how they are noisy at night, and how there are constantly new guests being invited over by the lady in the lower unit to spend the night. This was apparently a build-up because a few days later, she informed me that she had just signed the final closing paperwork for a little townhouse. I immediately had several questions, such as, but not limited to, am I going to be paying rent for our little duplex and we live in this townhouse? Why didn't you talk to me about buying a new place? When are you going to move? Is there a mortgage on the new house? How much is the HOA? To which I was largely either ignored or told to mind my own business. I've tried to be optimistic about this unexpected turn of events. However, this has become very frustrating for me. While I'm away, I can sometimes get email communication, and she did not even mention the home buying process once while I was out of contact. I have never been too connected with her personal finances, but although I know she doesn't have a mortgage, she refuses to tell me if the house was bought in her name or in her parents' name / how much of her money she used to buy the place or how much the place was. She has even suggested to me that she might not be comfortable having me live in the townhouse with her until we're married, because it's embarrassing for her to live in the same house as a man she isn't married to. So right now, I'm still paying rent for my duplex, a large allowance to her monthly so she can buy food and whatever, and now I have financed for a new oven and decorations for the new townhouse. The proposed plan right now is for me to get a deployment letter to try to take advantage of the Civil Service Members Relief Act to break my lease early. But she isn't even giving me a straight answer on if she'll let me live with her in the new place, and when I try to press the subject, she gets overwhelmed and accuses me of not supporting her and not validating all the hard work she's doing to make the new place livable. For context, our relationship has never been ideal. We've had large fights that could have ended the whole relationship, and both of us have done hurtful things to the other in the past, which is part of the reason why I have delayed marriage. Mostly to see if we can work through our problems. But now, I'm feeling like she's making moves to push me away, and that she may be preparing for a breakup, but keeping me around to collect a steady paycheck and finance her move / renovations. But on the other hand, we still have good moments together and laugh. We're still doing long-distance dating, like watching movies through Zoom and eating together. We still talk about the future together and how the little garden is going to be so pretty, or how she wants pets and a fish tank. So maybe I'm overreacting. After all, I still love her enough to have gotten engaged to her. I'm still away from home, so my problem is further exacerbated by the distance and time zone shift. Would I be the asshole if I broke up with her for this? Part of me is terrified I'm going to come back with my accounts drained and my duplex emptied. The other part of me is worried that if I overreact, I could be throwing away this relationship. So, you're paying her a large allowance monthly, you're paying for renovations in her townhome, and she apparently was able to save up enough to get said townhome, and she won't even let you move in, despite how much financial aid you've been giving her. In fact, when questioned or asked about it, it's either none of your business or you're overwhelming her. You might want to look at changing your power of attorney like as soon as possible, my man. This whole situation is just a field of red flags waving. Like the fact that you guys were presumably living together within the duplex and then suddenly now it's, well, I don't want to be living with someone who's not married to me within the townhome. Something's going on there. Please be careful. Illustrious T200. Am I the asshole for getting annoyed about my towel being used as a bath mat? Just to warn you that this is a really petty argument, but I would like an external opinion. Yesterday, I put the bath mat in the wash just before we were heading out. My partner went to shower before me this morning and could not find a new bath mat when looking in the cupboard. He didn't put the light on, and there was certainly one in there as I got it out after. When I got up to go in the shower, I saw that he had used one of my nice soft towels as his bath mat when getting out of the shower. I was annoyed and complained at him to please not use my towel in this way. I didn't shout, but I was clearly annoyed by it in my tone. I went into the cupboard and got a new bath mat. He then flipped out at me and said it was 100% my fault because I had not replaced the bath mat when I put the old one in the wash. He raised his voice and will not back down that this is completely my fault and I was out of order for complaining to him about it. He feels it is ridiculous that I did not replace the old bath mat immediately. I don't understand why he can't just admit it was a bit shit to use my towel, apologize, and leave it there. I would then be happy to apologize for not replacing the bath mat, even though I think that is a stupid counter-argument. Am I the asshole? Please be honest. Yeah, definitely not the asshole. Like, he could have gotten his own towel, he could have gotten a third towel, he could have found the other bath mat, but no, he was lazy and used your towel as the bath mat. It was a shitty in-the-moment decision that was extremely selfish, and when he got called out for it, he made it your fault that he was lazy instead of just being honest about it, and then proceeded to get extremely angry about it. Like, if this was a situation where, like, he wasn't thinking, stepped in the shower, got out, and then realized, no bath mat, god damn it, gotta use their towel so I can, not get the floor soaked. But even then, that's just a simple explanation of, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to use your towel, it's not a form of disrespect, there was no bath mat, forgot to grab one, X, Y, and Z. But instead, it's just the flipping out and the amount of anger being thrown OP's way that makes me really raise an eyebrow and uncomfortable with his behavior. The problem isn't the bath mat and whose responsibility it was to replace it. The problem here is the reaction, and I feel like that might be signs of more to come. Rocky Viz. Am I the asshole for refusing to help my neighbor after he ignored me for years? I moved into my apartment around 4 years ago. The neighbor next door always acted like I did not exist. No hello, no smile, nothing. Many times I tried greeting him in the elevator or hallway, and he would just look at his phone or walk past. After some time, I stopped trying. Last month, there was a big storm and his balcony drainage got blocked. Water started leaking into my balcony and inside my living room. I went and knocked on his door many times, but no answer. Later, he came home and I told him about the water problem. He looked annoyed and said it's not his issue and went inside. The next morning, the water damage was worse. I informed building management, and they forced him to fix it. After that, he suddenly became very polite. He apologized and said he was stressed, and asked me if I can talk to management to reduce the fine for him because the repair cost was already high. I refused. I told him he ignored me for years, and even during an emergency, he didn't care. So now, I don't feel like helping. He got angry and said I'm holding a grudge and acting childish. Some people in the building say I should help because it doesn't cost me anything. Others say he deserves it. So, am I the asshole for refusing to help him after how he treated me all these years? I mean, yeah, it would cost you nothing to go down to management and talk and try to reduce his fine, but at the same time, it also would have cost him nothing if the day prior if he actually would have helped you with the water damage happening to your apartment. It goes both ways. He actively chose not to give a shit, and now he's trying to butter you up so that way you have to give a shit and reduce the fine for him. It's entirely transactional, and he doesn't actually give a shit. Oh no! Consequences. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.